Every one of us is tasked with bringing the world to perfection. This week's Parashah reveals a secret to help us do just that. Parashah Vayigash is the culmination of the story of Yosef. And for the first time, we really see the brothers starting to act like a family. Well, at least to some of the brothers. Yehuda is taking responsibility. He's not the rash youth who sold Yosef into slavery. He's a father who's lost two children of his own and understands the pain his father is currently going through. Yosef sees this change and realizes now is the time to put an end to the games. For the first time, everyone in the story stops thinking about themselves and starts thinking about their family. We have an emotional family reunion and a detailed listing of the entire extended family that goes down to Egypt. The narrative is a real transition from everyone thinking about themselves and their own best interests and starting to act like a family. Chaverim, my friends, the world contains a lot of I these days. Focusing on the I pits us against each other. We need to remember that while we're all individuals, we're also part of a family. And not just any family, we're children of Yaakov, children of Israel. We're all brothers, we're all parents, we're all children. And what does that mean? What does being a family look like in the face of those who seek to do our family harm? Let me tell you a story that I heard this week. The story goes back to the 1980s. An American 18-year-old was in yeshiva in Israel. After a year, he decided to volunteer to serve in the IDF. While this is quite common these days, non-Israelis volunteering to serve was less common in the 80s. His parents were obviously nervous, and the world of the 1980s was very different from 2025. There were no cell phones and WhatsApp to keep in touch with family back home. You kept in touch via an occasional collect call from a random payphone and writing letters, which took weeks or more to send. At first, he was very good about calling and writing to his parents every week, but then things began to get busy and it was harder and harder to find the time. A week goes by with no communication, and then 2. His parents begin to get concerned. 2 weeks becomes 3, and then 4. His parents are worried, but have no idea who to contact to find out if their son was okay. So what does the father do? He writes a letter. Who does he write it to? Menachem Begin, Prime Minister of Israel. The letter says, "You don't know me, but you're a father and I'm a father. My son is serving in your army and I haven't heard from him in a month. Can you please let me know that he's okay?" The letter reaches the PM's desk a few days later and is read by Menachem Begin. A few hours later, the phone rings at the desk of the commander of the base the son is serving on. This is the Prime Minister. "Do you have a soldier there named so-and-so?" "Yes, Mr. Prime Minister, we do." "Get him on the phone right away." The commander sends word for the son to come to the office and answer the phone. "Hello, Mr. Prime Minister, this is so-and-so. Do you think I have time for you? I have a country to run. Call your father right away." That's what it means for all of us to be a family. The Prime Minister doesn't take time to check in on a random soldier, but for family, he makes the time. I saw a sign in Israel last week that was bringing attention to one of the 100 remaining hostages, and it said, "What if he was your father?" And I couldn't help but feel he is. He's all of our fathers. And this is my challenge to each one of you this week. There aren't 100 random hostages that are still being held in Gaza for the past 16 months. There's 100 family members, our fathers, our mothers, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters. Let's start 2025 by making sure the world remembers our family is still being held hostage. And let's bring them home now. That is one thing we can learn from this week's Parsha. How will you step up this week to bring the world a little closer to perfection? Shabbat Shalom and Am Yisrael Chai.